hot take. So I have a hot take for you. My hot take? Well, I think some artists need to put a little more energy in their live set. Overly complicated tracks are things that kind of ruin a track for me. Don't stick to any kind of genre label.
Future bass is the worst music genre ever created.
Barber Beats was the original vaporwave. Fuck General MIDI Choir. It's all bad.
Bruh.
Worst album artwork I've ever seen is Green Day's Father of All Motherfuckers, probably.
I find new music often, and I usually illegally download it.
Stuff that sounds good. Sampleless vaporwave is still vaporwave, buddy.
MIDI wave is a form of vaporwave. Deal with it.
Gen Z's the future of vaporwave. I said it. What is your musical guilty pleasure, Vapebearer?
It's gotta be K-pop.
If you don't like mint chocolate chip ice cream, you are a baby.
Music isn't real.
I smell weed. I'm Dan Mason. This is Vape Eric.
This is FM Skyline.
This is Mesh.
Yo, this is Groovy Kaiju. This is Christ. You're listening to
Hot Takes.
That's the one.
Don't touch my records. Ever.
It is time for Hot Takes. Welcome, everybody. It is I, Young Shiro, along with Skeleton Lipstick.
Hello.
We've convened with you all tonight at twitch.tv/hottakesvapor for a very special session with a very special member of our community, SlyVinyl Records. We've got Eric with SlyVinyl tonight to pick his brain, get to know him, do some community hanging out, and just have fun. If you're not familiar, Hot Takes is an independent, internet-based electronic music talk show. We're sharing the internet space with several other wonderful people, but we like to do a little something different with our show. We like to get to know our guests, but we also like to get to know what their likes and dislikes are, so we can have fun and geek out and just find that common ground and just have a good time with you guys live as well. So I want to say hello, of course, to our regulars and our new members in the audience today. And I want to just remind everybody of a few things before we get started tonight. This broadcast was made possible with the help of Indy Advant. Everybody thank Indy for his help with all of his tech support knowledge and expertise. Go follow Utopia District, Tiger Blood Tapes, etc. And then, of course, we have a lot of commands that you can use tonight if you want to. If you are wanting to follow our social media, hit that ! Follow. You can also follow Skelly and I individually with ! Skelly and Shiro. That brings up our link trees. You want to join our public community Discord server and talk some shit? That's ! Discord. ! Spotify. Guess what? We got a new playlist up from Syllabus, who's actually in chat right now. Syllabus put together a very cool playlist of some of her favorites, and we want to thank them specifically for that. So follow that link, check out that new playlist.
Check that one out right now. That's good because you know it's Syllabus. You know she's got the taste. She's got the best. So you got
Syllabus. I listened to some of it,
but definitely check out this one for sure.
It's a long one and it's got some great material on it. Definitely recommend you guys check it out.
Not to do it yet, but I've got an hour-long drive tomorrow.
There you go. That's perfect. We've got our other playlists as well. And then, of course, finally, if you guys feel the need, all donations. Oh, I typed a donator. All donations go straight towards commissioning your friends for art, paying people what they're worth in this community. And if you feel you want to donate, hey, it goes a long way. It goes right back to the show and to the community. So just keep it clean in chat, guys. No punching down. You can punch up all you want. In fact, we encourage that. Just no punching down. We're going to start the night out with some recommendations, courtesy of Skeleton Lipstick.
Hello. All right. Hi, guys. Let's get into it. You could be anywhere tonight, but you're here with us, and we appreciate it. Thank you. So let's see. Today, I have some recommendations. I'm going to start by traveling on over to the land of, let's say, ambient and dream punk, to specifically an album released by the record label And Options. I believe they're located out of Canada. I'm going to go to an album by the artist Cares, Cares, for their very striking album, Regular Unconscious. So this is a very fun layered one, and it is how I would characterize the sound of this album as, and this is going to sound basically like an oxymoron, but almost like gently aggressive. Let's put it that way, because it is very it's a very difficult thing to take somewhat abrasive sound textures and smooth them over to make them into something sort of more, I guess, dreamlike, for lack of a better
Kinda
word.
Tim Hecker-esque.
But it does a really good job at this. And the entire album surprised me each time, because sometimes I will listen to a Dream Punk album and I kind of get the vibe of how the album's going to go just from like the first song, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I don't really expect too many surprises, really, and there's nothing wrong with things being cohesive. But I have to say, and that each one of these songs was pretty dynamic. And being dynamic in the world of ambient isn't always the easiest thing to do. You know what I mean? So I really appreciated this album a lot. I thought it was very interesting, and I appreciated the fact that it could actually have that. It could have these sounds that were textured in a way that felt like they were consuming and very like almost like kind of violent. But they were put into a way that it made them, and once again, for lack of another word, vaporous. Almost like the vapor,
ephemeral,
or
nebulous.
Kind of, but I want to actually kind of create an image of like a cloud of like, you know what I mean? When I say vapor, I'm actually referring to like that. So it's like, yeah, but you're right, that too, nebulous, but like still cohered into molecules, basically. You know what I mean? But sort of mist. Okay, like mist. Let's put it like that. So that album, Regular Unconscious by Cares, is going to be the first recommendation from me. And then the second recommendation for me, we'll go over to, we'll go over to Shatterfoil Industries record label based out of Michigan. And I'm going to go for this. This
shout out
Nazi. Yeah, right. For real. Yeah. So I'm going to go for the album Halos by Agora. This is an interesting one. This is very much a... now, here's the thing. I, unlike most other people in the world, don't really listen to a lot of like breakbeat or jungle D&B style music. I don't really listen to a lot of it. So since I don't listen to a lot of it, if something strikes me and makes me stop and listen to it, it must be pretty interesting. This one did. I really liked it a lot. It was a very fun take on jungle drum and bass sort of music, because it was it sounds a lot like some of the vaporwave Zero stuff, but if you kind of made that into like breakbeat and had that same sort of like feel, but then also had these aggressive drums underneath it. So this was a fun one, guys. Like, sometimes
that does sound fun.
And I gotta say, even though I don't listen to too much breakbeat, I still like it a lot. Like, don't get me wrong. Please don't misinterpret me. I like it a lot. It just isn't always the thing that comes up in my playlist. It's not usually my vibe. Well, it is my vibe. It's not what I go to right away. So this makes me, I do go to this album right away though. This is a very interesting album. This is very fun. And it is very playful. And the thing about a lot of drum and bass and breakbeat that I listen to, it is kind of like aggressive. It is kind of moody. It's kind of like angsty. But this one was kind of playful. So to see that little playful side of a genre that's usually kind of aggressive, you know what I mean, was interesting to me. And I really want to recommend that album, Halos by Agora. So let's do that. And then for my final rec, I'm going to go and recommend another album by one of my favorite artists, who I always think should get some more attention, is Soulcraft. Big fan of Soulcraft. I've shouted out an album by them
you said, right?
Past probably once or probably at least two other times in this show before, but I'm a big fan of Soulcraft. I think that they are one of the more underrated artists in the entire extended universe of the scene, and I highly recommend people listen to more of them. So I'm going to recommend one of my favorite albums by them, Stranger, off of Business Casual, by Soulcraft. Now this is a really fun one because it's very much inspired and by a lot of new wave music. So you'll hear the flips of the new wave songs on this album too, and you'll notice because you'll recognize some of these songs, and you'll notice how they like are changing it, and how you'll notice when he's adding his own instrumentation to it, and when he's flipping it in different ways, and you're not going to be able to predict exactly what's going on in it. But this is a great album. It's super fun, and you can play a lot of these songs at dance parties as well. So you're going to want to check out this album. It's one of my favorites. Body I'm sorry, Stranger by Soulcraft, and yeah, you gotta just get on there, put on the song Embodied or Become a Man, and just it's good one. It's good stuff, man. Like if you're like a big fan of like, I don't know, sort of like, just listen to the album. It's really good. Listen to Soulcraft.
It's been all over this man's
like
Insta
Soulcraft
story.
a lot.
He's clearly a fan.
I'm a fan of Soulcraft. This is a good one. This is a good one to even introduce yourself with it too, because like you're gonna totally recognize all the vaporwave textures. You're gonna totally love the flips, and you're gonna be able to kind of dance and vibe to it too. You know what I mean? If you like new wave music, go listen to this album. You're gonna love it.
Damn. Yeah, that sounds like quite the cosign, if you will.
I'm a big fan of Soulcraft. I can't say it enough.
Thanks for the links as usual, Lux. Guys, check out the links, follow them, check out Skelly's recommendations. I want to talk tonight about samples. As you all know, we are a very sample, not necessarily, it's not imperative that samples be used in vaporwave. Thank you for the donation, Roche Corp. Love you as always. Samples, right? We all love them, most of them at least, most of us. And sometimes the fact is, occasionally people use the same sample, right? And gosh darn it, some people get real booty hurt about it. Well, at the end of the day, everyone has kind of a different way of flipping a sample, right? Some people are more curators, right? Some people are really good at finding difficult samples, or not difficult, but rare samples. Some people use strange material. I don't want this to sound pedantic. We are all vaporwave fans here. But at the end of the day, I mean, the way that you want to transform your sample is up to you, right? And there are only so many songs in the whole world. Do we really need to be getting into like arguments when two people want to use the same sample? I hate to say that it's happened in the past, and it seems that it still happens sometimes.
It still happens sometimes. That's crazy.
I mean, maybe not as much. I don't make music, so it's not really my place to pass judgment. But I just gotta say, I don't understand why we're arguing when we're all we're all appropriating material and we're all doing our own different thing. What's wrong with that, right? Curious what you guys think. Maybe that's not even really that hot of a take, but you can't own a sample. That's my hot take, I guess you could say. Curious what you guys in the audience think. Skelly, do you have a quick retort before we bring on the man of the hour?
Oh, absolutely. You should sample the same stuff. If you like what somebody did with something, you should do it yourself too. That's as simple as that. You can use whatever you want. And if you like the song that somebody used, go ahead and do it yourself, because it's still not going to sound the same. You're going to do it differently. That's the way it works. Your own personality is going to reflect how it presents itself. You know, the form is only a extension of the artist themselves.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. And what are we fighting about? Quiz wants to know if it's morally acceptable to sample from DN. I don't know what DN is, buddy. Donkey Nong.
Donkey Nong.
Donkey Nong. We're gonna have to,
Shout out to Quiz, who hosts wonderful Quiz Mist.
These nuts. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Sorry to cut you off. DN is apparently D's nuts.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Quizmas all day and all night. Wish I were
Shout out to
closer.
Had held a lovely gathering at his apartment with wonderful food and video games.
That's someday I will make it to a Quizmas.
Oh, you got it. I was there. Fiverr was there. Disco was there. Wizard of Loneliness. It's a grand old time.
Damn, he's cooler than we are. Everybody loves Quiz. If
somebody
doesn't love Quiz,
Quiz is way cooler than we are, man.
If somebody doesn't love Quiz, I have to just be like, what's wrong with you? But anyways, we're not here to talk about Quiz as much as we both love him. We're here to talk about SlyVinyl Records, and we're here to talk to Eric, get to know him a little bit better, and see what you guys think at the top of the hour. What questions you have for our illustrious guest. So we're gonna actually bring him on and put him up on the screen, and you can unmute yourself, and everybody can say and give a warm welcome to Eric from SlyVinyl. Welcome to the show, buddy.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Where the hell is the screensaver?
Thanks
There we go.
for being here, man.
Damn, what a good-looking man.
Mm-hmm.
But more importantly, we want to know what you think about what we had to talk about before we get into some more, serious topics. What do you think about sample twinning, and all that?
I mean, obviously, it is something that is ingrained to the genre, and you do hear it, and sometimes you can't help but think like, okay, so and so did it better. So anytime you're reusing a sample, you're already running the risk of being compared to, what else is out there with that sample. And hey, if you think you've got the better one, then maybe you deserve to have a chance to put it out. But if you're going to complain about being compared after the fact, then, what did you expect?
Damn.
There does seem
brutal.
to be sometimes there does seem
He
to
ain't
be
wrong.
a limited pool of samples that certain artists come back to from time and time again. Certain famous like city pop albums and stuff like that, if you're gonna go more on like the future funk side. And like you said, rare samples. Is it a rare sample, or is it just material that hasn't quite got the attention of the community yet? So obviously the most popular stuff that generate the music that is resulting in sample. If you go for popular artists, you're going to have other people doing the same stuff. So I think the onus is on them to dig a little deeper, find those, maybe not as popular releases, and find, those little gems in there. They're all over. And you can take a song that you're not really digging as is, and once you sample it and you flip it and you've chopped and screwed it the way you just like, it can be so transformative, and you end up with better music than the original in a lot of cases, at least in this community's opinion.
Yeah, definitely.
Imagine getting butthurt about the amen break. Or like, come on, everybody has the Motorola sound, or like if your name's not on the list, you're not coming in, and just shit like that.
Nice.
It happens.
I like that reference.
Well, sometimes would you agree that sometimes reusing a sample kind of brings you into the club, so to speak?
Yeah, that's a really good point.
It immediately associates you with these other groups that might be punching a little higher than your weight class, but all of a sudden there you are, and it gets people talking. Whether they like it or not is another matter, but you're now in the conversation.
That's a very good point. And honestly, you are, you're at least showing people like, hey, look, I'm looking in the same place as you are. We are similar to each other.
One small request: if you could turn yourself up just a hair, Eric, please do that. If it's not difficult.
Not sure if I can.
If not, I will. But we can move on and get into getting to know you. Okay. Skelly's better at that than I am. And if you can turn yourself up, great. If not, it's okay. Yes.
All right, my friend. As someone who is so involved in music and so involved in curation of music, and specifically, owning a record label means having to develop a specific taste, because you are the ultimate curator. I want to know, when did you first start getting into music in general? Like, how young were you when you started wanting to, maybe even like you were remembering bands, you were cataloging them a little bit in your mind. When did you really start getting into music? Like, what was the first thing you were listening to? Let's go back. Let's go far back.
far back.
Let's just go back to when you were a kid. Like, what's the first album that you were exposed to by your parents that you kind of liked?
Yeah, I remember sitting doing math homework, just going through my parents' CDs, and coming across a lot of classic rock stuff, Pink Floyd, Zeppelin, stuff like that. I remember being particularly enamored with Jethro Tull.
Oh, really?
Flute rock and roll. Okay,
I was about to
say, oh shit.
Aqualung.
Aqualung, yeah, I think I found a best of and kind of got the broad, all the greatest hits there. And so yeah, I think that's a lot of us are exposed to the music that their parents have on at home and stuff like that. But beyond that, where I am a kid of the 90s. So like in the 90s, where are you exposed to new music? Even it's a lot of the media you're consuming.
MTV. I mean, obviously, were you watching MTV or listening to the radio?
On the later end, as I was getting older and stuff like that, once we got cable and later on in life, definitely. But you're exposed to the soundtracks of video games you might be playing.
Very good point.
Or
like movie soundtracks.
As I was getting a little bit older and started skateboarding, we were watching a lot of skate videos, a lot of 411 tapes.
Sick.
And skate videos kind of just blew the world wide open because everyone's skate park had an awesome track that they had for that, and so I felt like I got exposed to some artists that I probably wouldn't have stumbled upon my own at that point in time. Things like Blonde Redhead.
Oh shit, Blonde Redhead?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah, stuff like that where you're just like, what am I listening
to? They were
to?
playing that in skate videos? They were playing Blonde Redhead in skate videos?
Yeah, definitely. Wow. I think there might have been a Arto Sari or someone along that era.
I did not expect there to be like the art rock stuff in them. I thought maybe you were going to say maybe some of the punk rock stuff, things of that nature. I didn't.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was expecting to hear too.
A lot of it
post hardcore
skate punk video. Wow.
Yeah, okay. You've got the guy with the Ramones track. You've got the guy, with this and that. All of that was there, but I think the ones that stood out to me amongst the crowd are, the more art rocky type things.
Okay, I'm sorry, let me interrupt. Keep talking.
Oh, no.
Okay, so you're listening to these music associated with the skate videos. You're saying that the more sort of artsy punk, the artsy music was standing out to you. So now you're hearing these tracks. Were you like, oh, how do I get more of this? How do I pursue it? How did you find more of it?
Well, what's funny is around that same time is when I also first started getting into file sharing, and getting into peer-to-peer and stuff like Kazaa and those early file sharing applications. And so my friends and we all skateboarded, and we actually made a skate video. And one of my earliest, we made a skate
Throw
video
that shit up on the Insta.
on VHS.
Oh shit!
Actually, I gotta
dub that shit.
I gotta convert it.
That is
the
most like
next SlyVinyl physical
that is like
drop.
The most mid-late '90s thing I've ever heard. It's like such a mid-late '90s thing that you're talking about right now. What a mid-late '90s experience.
Yeah. So and it's something we sold them at school and got in trouble for that.
Wait. Did you have like a?
Oh, you sold your own skate tape?
You sold your own skate tape? You're a regular CKY over here. What's going on?
Sick as fuck.
For real, we the group of us.
Tell Groovy Kaiju about this.
What was the did you read that? Did you used to read what was the skate magazine that was really popular, the really famous one?
Like Thrasher.
There was another one, Thrasher, yes, but there's
Transworld.
Transworld. I'll think about this in a moment. But so wait, I have a question. Did you have like a name for your skate video? What'd you call it?
Oh, we did call it. The video itself was called Speed Unlimited.
Nice.
Yeah, and each of us, it's just a group of friends, and 2 or 3 of them had cameras, and we would just take them out and over a couple years film, nothing. I mean, there were definitely varying skills. I had some friends that I was like, wow, with their abilities and what they were jumping downstairs and hitting rails and stuff like that, where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna work on my flat ground stuff over here. But We each got to put together a part. We each got to pick our own song, and one of the first things that I actually got to help out with was creating. Along with the VHS, we burned CDs and actually had the soundtrack for the the skate video. And
I love these sort of high school projects. You know what I mean? Like that people do when they're in high school. Like whether it's putting together this skate video or like making your own cassette tape that you made on the 4-track and like Xeroxing copies to make the inserts for it. Like I just love this sort of the inventiveness of like the teenagers in high school. Like I remember, it makes me so nostalgic when I hear these sorts of stories.
Did you ever like make your own like artwork for like CD jewel cases and shit?
Yeah, what did you do for the artwork for everything? How'd you do?
That's what I used to do, and I'm curious if you guys did too.
I should have grabbed it. I have it in the other.
Well, Naoko Koa just linked your Hello merch and your Patreon. Can they get it on your Patreon?
No. Can you at least take a picture of this and put it in our Discord so everybody can see like the cover and everything? I would love to see that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you got to put it on your Patreon so people that pay can hear it.
Like, it's just such a pure thing. You know what I mean? The stuff that you do when you're like 16 and 17.
Yeah, as I recall, I made the album artwork in MS Paint.
Oh, really?
Shout out to MS Paint.
And then we printed it out with an inkjet printer. And in retrospect, we used a lot of black in the album art. And so that stuck. Those we probably lost money on the CDs with the cost of
good point.
Ink, of course.
Ink.
So what did you edit it with? Did you edit it on like an Avid Pro, or what did you use to like how did you stitch everything together in the video?
Yeah, one of my buddies actually had the software. I don't recall exactly which it was, but they had some of the earlier digital VCR handheld cams.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And it was just a lot of it's one of those things where I need to get back and reminisce with those group of friends, and what we probably need to do is stage a viewing of the video and just get everyone we can back together.
Absolutely. That sounds great. That sounds great.
Go hit up the skate park maybe.
Yeah, that sounds great. So that was probably pretty exciting for you to do that. Oh, the magazine I was thinking was Big Brother.
Okay.
Big Brother magazine. That was the one. That was one. But it's an interesting skate magazine.
Yeah, guys, remember magazines?
But anyhow, so you did this.
I miss magazines.
Yeah, I miss magazines too.
Like
I
Under
really
the Radar and shit.
I mean, that was like the coolest thing. Well, I mean, that's why. I mean, like, how cool was it when Private Suite existed, right?
Oh yeah, them too.
I don't have all the issues, but I have a good stack of private issues. Yeah,
there we go.
Private
Sweet exit.
I mean, I have this one just because it's got this is with the Electronicon 1 issue, right? And
no way.
Like, so when they did favorite sets, everyone put like all the editors did favorite sets, and motherfucker, that's me right there for one of the editors' favorite sets.
Oh, you wrote an article for them? Sick.
Nice.
They wrote an article about what their favorite set was mine at the Electronicon 1.
Oh, I thought you wrote the article. My bad.
I didn't write the article. They wrote it about me. They're giving me the praise.
Who wrote that?
I wrote the article about myself. But anyway, so what song did you pick for your segment?
The song I picked was an Offspring song off of
which one?
Oh shit, what was it called?
Which album?
I'm pretty sure it was off of Americana.
Is that the guy that always goes, "Whoa, okay. Whoa"?
Oh, the title of the track was No Breaks.
Okay, gotcha.
And I think it was off of Americana. If it wasn't off of Americana, it had to have been off of
Ixnay on the Ombre.
I'm pretty
sure
it was off of Americana.
All right. So did this create a little bug in? So did this create a little bug in you to want to be in charge of creating things, distributing things, packaging things, art directions for doing that sort of thing, physical media in general?
I didn't realize then that it was a bug. I had one more instance, in fact, in high school where I helped a group of friends of mine and myself were in a econ class, and for the semester, the big project at the end of the semester was to create. The teacher put on econ day, and so you got into a group, and you had to come up with some sort of product to make, and sell it at, on school, and see what kind of profit, blah blah blah, that you could make. What we did was the group of friends I was assigned with was actually in a high school band together. I wasn't in the band, but 3 out of the 4 guys were also in my group, and they had a CD that they actually had professionally made and everything, that they wanted to sell. And so in addition to the CD, which I didn't assist with the CD, but I helped design a logo for them, and then we had shirts made with an embroidery of the logo on it.
Oh, you got the real
we
shit
made
embroidered and everything.
We made,
Damn.
yeah. I had, looking back, I probably should have gone with like some sort of screen printing or like direct to garment printing or something like that. But I feel like I was lucky just to find at that age, just to find somewhere that would make a couple shirts. I think we probably made like 20 shirts. Or something
Yeah,
like
a
that.
short run
But we had
embroidered.
some posters made. We had some stickers made. And so we basically ran it like a little bit of a merch booth. For the event, they played live music, and then we had the CDs, the posters, the stickers, the T-shirts, everything for sale. And so, once we did that kind of, I had so much fun doing that. But it wasn't until much later that actually running a label and helping to put out vinyl records and stuff like that kind of came to my attention as an opportunity I could take.
So when did that come to your attention?
After I graduated from university, I started, I think, buying more vinyl personally.
Okay.
And at the time, a lot of online blogs were really popular, and there were some vinyl record specific ones, one of which was SlyVinyl Records. Lo and behold, I am the owner and proprietor of SlyVinyl Records, but I'm not actually the original creator of it.
Do go on. About the
I want to hear
story.
about this.
Yeah, really? Okay.
Really?
So, all right. Well, okay. So you gotta take us through this then. What happened? How did this all happen?
So I've been buying vinyl since about 2012. I was able to figure out what was that first album I ever bought at a show, and was able to look up. Oh, it was a Here We Go Magic show in 2012.
Hell
Here We Go
yeah.
Magic. I remember them. Yeah.
Shout out
Yeah,
chill
they were
wave
great.
music.
They were
So I
chill
bought
wave.
some-
I wouldn't consider chill wave, were they?
I would.
Here We Go Magic.
Or at
You
least
might be thinking of
adjacent.
slow magic. You're thinking of
No,
slow
I
magic.
think-
slow magic is more chill wave.
You know what? Maybe. Isn't Here We Go Magic kind of like an indie rock, like chill
They're
wave?
indie rock, and there's like a little bit going on there, but they're kind of like upbeat and like kind of a little bit more singer-songwriter-ish, but like with some like
Okay.
electronic infusion. Okay, but anyway, we're talking back to the story. I want to hear more about what's going on here. So you're talking about that vinyl. Go on.
So at about 2012, I'm starting to buy vinyl, and around that time, SlyVinyl Records launched as an actual music blog, and so it began as SlyVinyl began its existence as a music blog, and slowly, about a year after they spun up, they started putting out actual vinyl. And so on their second release, I realized that I was absolutely loving the music that SlyVinyl Records was putting out as a label, and kind of became a super fan. Anytime something was going to come out, I really started taking notice. On the blog side, what they had was a team of writers from all over the world, and I really mean all over the world. Not just, we had East Coast, West Coast people. We had people in Berlin. We had people in the UK. We had people. We had a guy in Norway, and so all of us with our varying groups of taste were each contributing articles about releases that were coming out. Because at the time, if you weren't, I mean, I guess a lot like right now, but a vinyl record can drop and then just be sold out immediately. And if you weren't on top of it as the second it went on sale, you weren't going to get it. You know, you maybe go to the aftermarket and pay 5 times the price, or, you know, whatever they're trying to hawk it for on eBay.
Shout out discogs.com.
Yeah. So these blogs kind of gave, you know, the head up of, you know, here's what's coming down the pipeline. And we had the varying artists, we had the varying authors, and I was also finding myself submitting a lot of news suggestions, tips. Here's stuff that's coming out. And it got to the point where the owner came to me and said, hey, do you just want to join the team and become one of the contributors?
Hey,
so
you're obsessed.
I jumped at that.
Why don't you work for us?
Basically, I was giving them so much work to do that they said, how about you
That's
just
hard.
come over and do that? We'll give you the credentials to sign on in. And so that was really my foot in the door. So now I am like on the other side of the curtain. I am contributing as much as possible. My delving into new music for myself personally just kind of exploded at that point, because I was looking for new stuff, content that I wanted to post. And you know, maybe you're on Bandcamp and you're jumping from genre tag to genre tag, trying to like discuss, you know, you dive into a pool you're familiar with, and then you kind of swim around and see what else pops up. Bandcamp was also really great because you could just see what were the new physical releases that dropped today or the past week or whatever like that. And so you could really just, at least for myself, I was discovering a lot of new things. And I felt like it was really a time where my musical taste and just awareness of what was out there really expanded. So the end game here is, how did I get in charge of the label?
So now you're part. Now you've gone from fan
stage
to
a coup?
working for them. Did you stage a coup?
I staged a coup.
So you've gone from fan to working for them.
No one knows.
Now you're
The whereabouts of the previous owner are unknown.
Yeah.
My name is not actually Eric. That's the name of the previous owner, and I've assumed his identity.
Yeah, you're taking over his identity.
Yeah.
So now you're getting exposed to even more music. You're refining your ability to find new interesting music, scouting out lots of cool things that you want to bring to the label. At what point do you now just start becoming in charge of it?
I think what really led me down that road was getting involved with the pressing of the label's releases. The funny story with that was I really got involved around the 5th release. SlyVinyl, I knew they were putting out maybe 1-2 releases a year, and I've ramped it up to the point now where we've got one new record release once per month.
That's crazy.
Nice.
And that's kind of be the plan going forward. But when you had just 1 or 2 a year, you kind of had a lot of time to plan it out, and I saw an opportunity one time. So I knew we were looking for a new release, but hadn't decided on anything yet. One of my favorite artists of all time is a electronic duo called L1011. If you're familiar
Oh man,
with
I
them.
remember L1011, like an electronic post-rock kind of duo.
Yeah, they're kind of
I
like
loved
math
L1011.
rock and-
Yeah.
I'm not familiar. I have to look them up. How you spell this? L1011?
It's 3 words. L, like EL,
EL.
and then 10
Okay,
and
okay.
11.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they have a song called
And
Lord.
What's great about
I gotta look them up. I'm not familiar.
What's really cool about them is they do live sampling of themselves.
Oh, that's cool.
And so it's just a duo, but if you were to listen to the music, it sounds like a full-fledged band.
Yeah, they got a lot of guitar work going on there too.
yeah,
sounds
I
like
don't
a
know how I
great
missed
kinda-
them. I'm gonna definitely check them out now.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going. So you're getting involved in the release.
So
then?
I knew they were playing a show in Tucson. Am I coming through all right? Am I getting choppy?
You froze
I
for
hear
a
you. I hear you
second.
fine.
You're getting a little choppy, but
Okay,
we still
great.
hear you.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah, you're back.
Great. So, just a quick recap. I'm aware that I'm aware that the label's looking for a new band to release. I'm super invested in this other band. I'm such a super fan that I had all of their vinyl that they had ever pressed in my, personal collection. But I was also aware that they had a glaring hole in their discography. Their third album never got a vinyl pressing for at the time I had no idea why. So they were doing a show in Tucson, and I drive down there from Phoenix with my whole vinyl collection in tow of this band. Not all my vinyl, but just all of my L1011.
All the L1011 albums.
And yeah, and I kind of corner them after the show to do a little autograph session. I made sure everyone else got done first. I was like the last guy in line, purposely. And as we were chit-chatting and kind of just going through, talking about the releases, I kind of bridged the topic. I said, why is this, the album was called Every Direction is North. Why did this never get a pressing? And, they didn't have the money at the time. They always intended to, but it never got the opportunity. And so that was my big light bulb moment. I pitched to them. I said, hey, well, I represent SlyVinyl Records. We are looking for a new album to put out. And I think your third album that never got pressed is perfect. You've got the fan base that's already buying records. And, we have the means to pay for it for you and to put it out. And so we kind of did like a little bit of a handshake deal. What they didn't know is that I had not discussed this with the owner of the label whatsoever beforehand.
Oh, really?
So now the band's on board. So the
so
band's
funny.
on board.
What?
They're like, yeah,
I did
let's
not know
do
that.
this. So now I got to turn around.
You got to sell it to
So
the
I gotta
owner.
turn around and now pitch
initiative
the-
right there. Now
pitch
you have
it
to
to
sell
the
it to a
owner.
label that you've already made the deal for with this band. You have to sell it to them now.
Yes. So it could have actually ended up really badly if the owner was like, nah. And I say the owner, his name's Scott Wickberg, really great guy. Luckily he was on board, he was down, and but he said, you though are responsible for doing all of the work. I need you to coordinate with the band. You got to get the audio, you got to get the art assets. I got a little bit of here, a little bit of hand holding on the very, very first one. You got to make sure the art's the proper resolution. You got to make sure this and that. But part of the deal as well was that I had to ship and pack all of them myself as well. So when we put up the pre-order,
You were doing everything.
so absolutely everything. I needed to be in charge of it all, and I don't know about you guys, but if you've ever had 500 records shipped directly to
I was
your
going to ask
house-
how many y'all pressed.
And-
That's a lot.
Yeah, that one was a press of 500, single LP, but even then, you've got an absolute stack of boxes that come to your door on a pallet. And then from there I was hooked. Every chance I got, I was just offering to be the guy in charge of making the release happen. There was a couple releases where someone else found the artist, but then I was in charge of actually getting the manufacturing part of it complete. And
you guys
over time, I was just going to say, over time, I took more and more and more of the responsibilities under my wing, and it got to the point where I was picking the artists, doing all the scheduling, and as long as we weren't out of money, we could just keep playing.
Wow.
Sick.
So did you guys always use were you always using the same plant? Did you have a good relationship with them? Is it always the same plant that you work with?
So historically, no. Historically, we've worked with probably half a dozen different plants
Really?
in different parts of the world. as of late, I have my favorites. I do have plants that I go back to time and time again.
Okay.
Sometimes, depending on the release attributes, how many copies, or what kind of effect you're looking to do, or there's several things that might make you choose one plant over another.
So you break it down that
Um,
specific for each plant. How's the turnover rate
Yeah.
usually when you guys get these things? When you get a new album, like how long does it usually take from you getting the album to getting the album to the plant and getting it back to you guys? Like, what's your, because you're doing this every month, you said, so you must have a pretty good turnover rate.
So we used to do things where I would have things in hand before we even announced anything.
Damn.
And
Impressive.
it was a lot easier when you're only doing 1 or 2 a year, 3 or 4 a year, right? You weren't really worried too much about the turnaround time. What has happened over the last couple years, and especially due to the pandemic, as you could imagine, a lot of supply chains have been impacted. We've noticed longer turnaround times. Also other things that might have been forgotten about, but just prior to the pandemic, was the Apollo lacquer plant fire. So within vinyl manufacturing,
that was a tragedy.
Yeah, that was no good. One of the very within vinyl manufacturing, there's lots of different steps. A vinyl record at the very end of the day is basically a mold. It's like a mold that's created with the negative image of that record that's pressed into the malleable PVCs. The vinyl is polyvinyl chloride. And when it's pressed, you've got this negative mold. But to create that negative mold, which are the stampers, it goes through several steps of manufacturing, all the way back to the beginning, where you have what's called a lacquer plate. So a lacquer plate is an aluminum plate that is covered with a varnish lacquer, as it's called, kind of something similar in consistency to like nail polish.
Okay.
And so when you send your audio off to get cut into a vinyl record, the actual cutting technician will put a blank lacquer onto a lathe, and then they drop a diamond or sometimes sapphire tipped needle onto that blank disc, and what they are actually doing is carving out the actual groove, of what will eventually be.
They're making like the master copy, huh?
Pressed record, and so it's basically the master cut right then and there, exactly. And so what was so devastating about the fire is that Apollo, I want to say, probably had like 75% of the world's volume of sales for that one step.
All those masters were destroyed.
I don't think Apollo actually holds the masters, but they hold the blank discs.
Oh wow!
And
so
that
components,
the raw material,
still bad,
to
just not as bad.
manufacture the very, very, very first step is kaput.
Interesting.
So,
I'm learning so much right now. This is fascinating. Fascinating conversation for people to understand.
Yeah, the industry has clawed back a little bit. I'm aware of a couple of the other smaller lacquer plants have like increased capacity. There might even be a new one out there. So I think over time that has alleviated a little bit. But at the time, when it literally went up in smoke, I think that really put a bottleneck into the manufacturing pipeline.
Wow. Fascinating. I mean, it's really, you're an interesting person to talk to because of how involved you are in vinyl. And it's like kind of a world that we consume it, we enjoy it, we love looking at it. We don't exactly know. All we know is like sometimes it's really hard, and sometimes it's really hard to get them back. Sometimes like we don't know all the process that goes into making these sorts of things, and like the considerations that you have to take into account when you do get ready to produce or release a new album. So that thing what you just told us about, the Apollo fire and like losing that one step and how greatly that affects the entire production process. Can you go talk to us a little bit about some of the other, like, what is some of the biggest obstacles that you usually have to deal with when you're getting these vinyls released? Like, you just mentioned one. Is there any other ones?
Big ops. So, with vinyl records, it is you're making a physical product, and unlike a CD, um, any sort of defect within the product can be very greatly noticed. When you create a vinyl record, one of the most important steps is to do what's called a test pressing.
Okay.
It is kind of your final quality control check before they mass press. Are you pressing 100, 300, 1,000 copies, right? You want to make sure they sound good. So what'll happen is they'll press 5, 10 copies, just, pretty, it's not the full color jacket and everything. It's just black vinyl. Here you go. But it's so important to, vet those test presses beforehand, and make sure that everything sounds tip-top shape. You don't want something to sound distorted, or sometimes there might even be a physical defect within the actual stampers that's causing like pops and clicks to occur. And because as you guys, if you play vinyl yourself, you might know sometimes you got to clean the record. There's dust and stuff that can kind of get in the grooves. What's really important on the test pressing step is you get multiple copies. And so if you hear something weird on one copy, you jump over to another copy and see if on that exact same beat on the next copy, does it replicate the issue that you heard? Or are you able to say, okay, no, it's not on this one, so maybe it was just something weird with this one copy, and then you listen to more, and then it's on you to listen to. So basically, you're listening when you put out an album, you listen to it a whole lot, many times over.
Yeah, I can imagine.
As you can imagine, and sometimes
Good
before
thing
you
get
even
to
get
pick
the
'em.
test press. Yeah, that's very true. Before you even get the test press, you're gonna have, at least for me, I'm listening to that album over and over and over again, almost ad nauseum, just so that when you go to the test press stage and this is your chance to catch something, you have that ear of exactly what you're expecting. If you've not really listened to an album all that much and you're pressing it and then you're listening to the test press, you might miss something that's odd about it.
That's a very good point. You want to be like intimately familiar with like the original version, huh?
And so individual artists that press their own stuff, obviously they're going to be a lot better at catching that. On the label side, I send the artist a test press anytime I can so that, they can give their input on it as well. They might catch something that I didn't hear. They might say that the intro of a single track sound, something's off with something. And then you can go back and you can collaborate. And yes, I hear that too. Okay. And then sometimes you got to go back to the drawing board. I've had releases where you have to reject a test pressing, and that means, depending on the issue, it might be something that's relatively simple to fix, or sometimes you got to start from scratch and you go all the way back to the lacquer step, and they have to cut a brand new lacquer.
Oh God, that's terrible. That's like a nightmare. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Do you have to pay extra for that?
Did you pay extra for that?
Depending on the situation, usually not. If they can figure out that it's something that was your fault that it sounds this way, like let's say, because here's what happens when you send an audio file to get turned into a vinyl record. What you really should do is have the artist turn into you as a label a side A wave file and a side B wave file with all of the tracks spaced out properly, exactly the way they want it, so that by the time you're turning it in. It's because what happens is if you turn in individual tracks, you have a chance that an error can occur, and track 4 got put in the 5th spot and 5 over in the 4th spot, or it doesn't get assembled correctly.
I never would have thought about it like that. That's interesting.
Or sometimes if tracks lead into each other and you turn them in as individual tracks, sometimes you get a weird
silence in between where they're supposed to.
Yeah. So you have
Can't
to
have
really
that.
be mindful of all of that as well. So for example, if I turned in a side A file and we realize, oh no, one of the songs are juxtaposed with another, that might be a situation where it's on you, and if you have to recut it, they would charge you to do so. But for the most part, they'll eat the cost themselves.
That's good. Well, it's a fascinating process, and physical media is a very important thing. You want to talk to us a little bit about the importance of physical media, of vinyl records, particularly amidst the scene and all that stuff, and maybe even some future releases you guys have coming up?
Sure. With vaporwave, I think so my introduction to vaporwave was because I was assisting with this blog, digging and looking for new stuff, and around the time that Hit Vibes was first pressed by Car Park Records on vinyl, I found that release, or somebody had suggested that one of the other artists was like, hey, based on your tastes that I'm aware of, check this out. And it just kind of blew the doors wide open for me. How can you not get into the scene with an introduction of Hit Vibes? An album that just, song after track after track track is just wow.
Mm-hmm.
And that one was so weird because Car Park at the time, I can guess what the story was, but they had to put out the release as a promo, if anyone recalls.
I do.
Yeah. My guess is they got dinged for some sort of copyright infringement, some sort of sample that wasn't cleared, and and I think they already must have had the records pressed, so they put some sort of promo copy sticker or something like that on them and sold them for, I think, just at cost, because as rare and valuable as Hit Vibes is nowadays, when it first sold, they were $10 a piece.
Wild.
And so, I picked one up. I told a couple of my friends, oh yeah, you should check that out. But then I just really started digging more and more and more into the scene. A lot of the earlier Vapor releases, some of the early Esprit 7 inches that 100% was putting out. There's even some stuff that is now, in retrospect, kind of lumped in, Farside Virtual, some of those albums that kind of were precursors. There's a reason we got Friend Zone involved in the Flamingo Fest.
Fuck yeah.
With
hella
everything
awesome
that they
idea.
were doing, that just they just fit the scene so well now that I think if they were putting out brand new music now and interacting the way prior to James's passing away, I just really would be curious to see how would they be interacting with the scene right now.
For sure, yeah.
And it's really cool that that Dylan's now kind of getting back out there and rediscovering his passion for music as well.
Oh yeah.
Both on the putting out the older Friend Zone stuff, and then also him going forward as Chlorine Mist.
Oh yeah, I mean,
it's been really exciting to see that firsthand too.
On the show.
Yeah, he was our 10th guest, and honestly, you and I have geeked out so much about our shared love of Friend Zone and just being there in the early days. And I just want to reiterate that what you just said is incredibly exciting to watch. I don't know what he was doing or where he was, but he has been coming back with a huge resurgence and passion and inspiration, and it's been fueled by and large by other people's encouragement. I don't want to act like he doesn't have his own agency, because he's a damn near genius, musical genius, but that's some community building right there, and I think you've been super instrumental in that.
It was very serendipity. So getting Dylan involved with Flamingo Fest kind of went down like this. We were prepping for Collection 3 vinyl pressing, and just through conversations with him, he had expressed to me that he was interested in getting back out there and doing some live shows, and just kind of a nebulous thought, like, oh, I'm interested. I want to go back out and do that. And then I'm really close with Enzo on the My Pet Flamingo side. We chat all the time. I helped curate the Flamingo Funk Volume 1, 2, and 3 releases.
I did not know that. That's sick as fuck.
Yeah, I set the track listing for all 3 of those, and then also helped recruit, various artists over time. But so getting Dylan involved, he had said that he was interested in live shows, and then Enzo came up to me and told me they had a glaring hole in the lineup for Flamingo Fest. They still needed one biggish name, and he was kind of throwing some names out to me. I won't say who, but just they weren't really exciting me. Like, yeah, those are A tier performers, but like we're looking for like S tier, right? You know what I mean? So I kind of just became the middleman between Enzo and Dylan, and everyone just came together, and it kind of just came together really quickly from there. Everybody was interested. What I did though to really push it through though was I had also some flight credits on American Airlines that I was gonna expire, and so I helped book Dylan's flight out to the show. I was like, if it's just gonna expire anyways, let me fly you out there.
Wow.
And then
My man.
and then also
Nice, man. Nice. Love it.
and then we put him up in our hotel room the couple nights that he stayed as well, and chauffeured him around, and yeah. But Flamingo Fest was great. Isaac, you are a madman on up there.
Oh, you're too kind. It's you gotta have
Lots of energy.
You gotta get the audience involved. What's really funny is I'm actually a very tired person.
Very tired.
But you gotta get the audience involved, and
Then what were you doing the after show?
I damn near didn't do the after show. Fun fact, I almost was like, hey, Skelly, do you want to do it instead of me? But, it happened. But anyways,
during that after show, at some point they came out, I think Indy started coming around a little frantic, and he said the organizers are telling us if we don't get more people back inside right now, they're just going to shut us down. And I was sitting there with my friend Todd, and we're like, okay. And I kind of head back in there, and sure enough, there was one person. I think it was, is it Uglado? Is that his name?
Uglado was in there, and
Uglado.
Alex.
Yeah, he was performing, and then there was one person in the audience just up there. And
oh damn, I feel bad for leaving, but I was wiped.
It's the end of the night, everyone's tired, and I see there's one person out there, and so I go right up to the front, right in front of him, and I just start dancing as hard as I could. And
Good man.
That's
in
community
about
support.
a couple minutes,
man.
I turned around, and more people had filtered in, and they were like matching the energy. I had some other people like coming right up next to me and just going hard, and so it was really cool to see it go from like one person in there, oh my gosh, they're this close to shutting it down, to like feeling like, breathing a little bit of life back into the very end of a very long but rewarding weekend.
Yeah, dude, honestly, like, I don't know about you, Skelly, but having played a good handful of shows, there are many times I'll just be kind of honestly just resting after my set, and the organizer will be like, guys, the dance floor is getting kind of thin. We got to get out there and show support. Get out there. Go talk to some people at the bar. Get them to go out. And, and I'm just like,
For sure.
I'm so tired. okay. I'm gonna grab another drink, and then we're gonna take some audience questions and start going nuts. You got one more.
I'm gonna keep talking then too.
Yeah, you got one more.
All right, so physical media for the scene and production. I mean, how important do you think that is? Do you think it's valuable? You think it's pretty valuable, right?
I mean, obviously, as a record label, I mean, we're basically exclusively vinyl records. Every once in a while, we'll spit out a cassette here and there. But I think particularly for vaporwave,
Yeah.
I think the legacy that the physical media will, continue to exist for years to come, right? SoundCloud links might go down, copyright, samples might cause issues later on, especially with, I know right now they're using AI to detect samples, even at the press plants.
That's a really good point.
So, there's even certain press plants where if you're going to put something out that has samples on it, like, don't even try, because they're going to stop your project. And
I was going to actually ask you about that, but you brought it up already. I think, and it's really interesting what you're saying about how the physical media is going to be the most important form because it's real, it's yours, you own it, you have it. It is a document that is permanent.
And if you store it right, it cannot be degraded.
But these things, you're right. That's an interesting point about AI possibly being galvanized to remove anything that has a sample. You just automate that and it just removes it within seconds. But if you have these artifacts, you have the history and you can tell it and you can display it to people. And that is really there's a tremendous importance on physical media, particularly for vaporwave, which could be erased. You're absolutely right. It's an excellent point. Can I ask you in regards to... Yeah, sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I have albums on my shelf right now that have tracks that I can't find through official.
Oh, yeah. Like they're not on SoundCloud or anywhere anymore.
Same, absolutely. Cassettes and vinyl and all kinds of stuff, that is not available anywhere else any longer. You know what I mean? Because there was a small artist that produced it, a few batches were made, and they disappeared after that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
For sure. What do you think about all these different genres in vaporwave these days? May I ask you a little bit about what's your opinions on some of the stuff going on with barber beats and stuff?
the barber beef.
Yeah.
As
if you want,
I'm
mind
so
talking
proud
about
of
that.
you.
Would you mind talking about that a little
This
bit?
guy's the best interviewer.
So there's just kind of a funny, the genres within genres, the barber beats genre, barber beats is named, after the original barber beater, Haircuts for Men. Mm-hmm. And anyone who knows Haircuts for Men knows his style. It's very kind of like smooth, jazzy, kind of more ambient sounding stuff. And
like in a spa or something almost.
Yeah, and there's a lot of genres within vaporwave that have a lot of artists within that genre. And it was kind of until only recently that, there's been many barber beats artists, but not many that you would recognize. And as of late, you see that there are some other artists that are kind of getting in the game. And in particular, there's at least two that I'm aware of, Macro Blank and Oblique Occasions, that are kind of just trolling Haircuts for Men. They're kind of blatantly, and here's the thing. Here's where you get into where is there even a line to draw? Because vaporwave is taking someone else's creation and turning it into your thing and then putting it back out as hey, here's my thing. And so they're kind of, I wish I could put up some photos, but you could find these side by sides of album art where you could tell that they're totally just like, part of me wants to think that they're doing it as in honor of Haircuts for Men, but
like
I think
an homage,
just kind of
probably just really
but
riffing.
They're trying to just I think that it's been more of like they're trying to get a rise out of him. They're almost blatantly ripping off the art style and I'll drop in the chat later, like I will with my the skate video CD that I'll get a photo
Yes,
of.
please do that too.
You'll do the
I'll
side-by-sides.
show some examples of what I'm talking about, where it like they almost look like a identical artwork. But yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on? So some of the critiques of Barber Beats is that it's really lazy vaporwave. There's not a lot of micro sampling. There's just, here's a track, I'm gonna slow it down and then throw it back out there.
Man, I don't
guys
think
have
it's
any
lazy.
opinions on-
I just don't find it to be very interesting. Hot take.
recommend
I've
it.
tried and tried. It's just boring to me.
Oh, I like it. I can't remember I actually recommended an album like 2 weeks ago too. What was the album I recommended that I was listening to? I can't find it in my.
I like some
history here
stuff by
somewhere.
Rom Breaker.
I recommended a Barber Beats album not too long ago that I thought was very dynamic. I thought it was fun. I don't know. I don't mind. I kind of like the experience of listening to it because I really do enjoy the art that goes along. I find it to be a
Oh yeah,
it's
the
a-
visual
it's a-
art is
it's a complete experience. It's not without the visual art accompanying it. The mood is not properly set though. It is a
Their
micro,
graphic
it is a micro
design is
genre
top
that
tier.
is extremely tied to its specific aesthetic, which engenders the feel inside you right away before you listen to it. If you were actually, I think it would suffer if you just put it on and you weren't actually first primed by looking at the visuals first. Like it's actually, that's kind of the most interesting thing about the genre, isn't it? Is that it's like a graphic artist genre, right? I mean, not.
I
like-
just
it
I
is.
Even
see
more
the
so
album
than
cover
usual.
and I'm
We always
like,
talk about
hell yeah, I definitely want to fucking listen to
Gore.
that.
Yeah,
Then
it
I
was
put it
Gore.
on
That
and
was-
it's just
yeah,
like,
that was fun. Gore. Thank you.
eh.
Thank you, Lux. You're right. It was Gore. That's right. That's what I recommended. That was the one.
Yeah, I remember that describer.
No, I think that all the genres, particularly
Descriptor.
vaporwave in general, has always been very tied to its visual presentation, and this is even more tied to its visual presentation than previous, which makes sense because you're a micro genre of a micro genre. Now it's like you redoubled yourself on the importance. You redoubled yourself on the importance of the visual aspect. Like this feels like it's like music made by graphic designers, and the music comes second to the actual graphic
Yeah.
designer's work. You know what I mean?
Facts.
Which is very kind of an interesting concept when you think about it. And so
I
that's
mean, it's
kind of why
pretty
I like
punk
it.
rock, so I do respect
Well,
it.
I like it because that's so dependent on it's music that's so dependent on the visual presentation. And like it's true, if I just put the album on and I didn't spend before I listen to Barber Beats, I have to spend a few minutes looking at the art direction, and then I put it on, and then it's like it does something, man. It's interesting. So that's my opinion of it. And that's how
Well,
I
I think you made a really good point.
Oh shit, I'm muted. Those graphic designers need to be getting paid.
Well, I think that the graphic designers are the people making the music too for it, right? It's Macro Blanks. All
Okay,
that.
respect.
You were saying, Sly. All right,
Oh, well, I just think that, the topic that we're swirling around here for Barber Beats, but on the larger side, just on Vaporwave and Future Funk and, et cetera in general, that the artwork is so important because Vaporwave isn't just a music genre. It's more of like an art scene, an art movement of sorts.
Yeah.
And to circle back on the importance of physical media is that, it just, be it a cassette, be it a CD, be it a vinyl record, it just gives you more of a canvas to put the art onto, right?
Yes.
And what's so great about a vinyl record is the art is so big, it is so in your face. If you have a gatefold and you have all this extra surface area, or even the center labels on the disc have art considerations, and so there's all of this opportunity to really, put the full aspect of the art into place. It's not just the music, it's not just the visual, it's all of it coming together, and how does all of that make you feel? And that's art, that's music in general. I think you could probably ask what's more important, the album art or the music itself, and it's got to be some sort of hybrid in between.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's
Totally
actually
agree.
a popular
Totally.
question that gets asked a lot here. So I'm
It
glad we
is.
got your answer on that count.
Barber Beats is one of the ultimate examples of that, I think.
I want to open
Yes.
the pit up for questions. We got 45 minutes left. everybody who has something that they want to know about SlyVinyl, about the artists that he's worked with, or just wants to riff on something, fill that chat up with questions. Until then, I want to pick your brain a little bit about no names, but if you could tell me why you are not a fan of an overrated act in your scene. Why are you not a fan of this act? Doesn't even matter what scene. It's a secret.
You know, I'll say this. Sometimes I would say that there are individuals in certain scenes that I think are really important for the scene and really good people and really good like shepherds for bringing those scenes into larger audiences. And I totally and madly respect some of those individuals for that. On top of that, though, you know, I'm not always a fan of the music that they make. So, you know, I'm a big fan of these people and I'm a big fan of such and such, but I don't find myself going and listening to their music. And like you said, no, I won't name any names.
Buddy,
but,
honestly, there are so many times like I'm like repping hard for somebody just because I love them as a person. They're my friend or like they're just an amazing person. And I may not really be the biggest fan of their work, but that's okay. There's something for everybody, right? The beautiful thing about art is it's subjective.
Yeah,
I'm
and absolutely.
glad someone else can relate to that.
And you can see other people dig the music too, so you know it just comes down to taste, and this one's just not for me. But then but on top of that, you can give mad respect and hold those people to high regard, even if you're not checking out the new music as soon as it drops.
We got a couple questions in chat. Videodrome wants to know if you still skate. Also, High Tech says hello.
Hello. I have actually a relatively brand new board.
No way! You still skate? That's awesome.
But I don't still skate. I haven't skated in a couple years. I went on a bit of a hiatus. I got myself a brand new deck, new wheels, new bearing. I think I only reused some trucks, but everything else was brand new. And on the first evening that I went to go skate, I ended up fracturing my arm.
No, I'm so sorry, bud.
It was trying something new that I had never done before, which maybe is dumb considering it was first day out after a hiatus, but I don't know. I was feeling it, and I don't know. All the other little things were clicking, and it was kind of like a let me try this trick backside instead of front side kind of a thing, and it was on a flat rail at a skate park.
Overplayed your hand.
Yeah, it was just like the tiniest little baby rail too, and it just shot out, and I landed right on my ass.
Oh my God.
And honestly, at first, I thought it was just like a stinger. You know, if you've skated, you've been there. You smack your ankles, you slam down. You know, it hurts for a bit, and you get back and you go back out. But when this thing just would not stop hurting and started swelling, I was like, okay, it's time to time to go.
Time to rollerblade instead.
The insult, the injury too was oh yeah. On the way out the door to go, my wife actually said, "Don't break your arm."
So she actually gave you
unreal.
the advice. That was the one thing she asked of you: don't break your arm.
Just don't break your arm.
That's it. That's all I asked.
And so I called back and I was like, "Do we have any frozen peas? You know, just like a bag of frozen peas at home."
No reason.
I kind of, just got a bruise.
That's too funny.
So the board had 1 day's worth of skate on it, and still remains relatively new. I do want to get back out there, and you know, maybe go a little bit easier, because I do love skating. But yeah, I'm not 15 anymore, so.
Before we get to Lux's really good question, Syllabus wants to know if you have anything against rollerbladers.
No, I don't even have anything against like scooters. I've seen some awesome. I've seen some crazy videos of some people doing some really cool tricks. There's people of all skill level. I think the grudge that skateboarders would have against other forms of tricks and transportation is maybe just sharing the park. If you just have people shooting out in front of you, but that could be a kid on a skateboard too. It's about knowing the etiquette, being aware of where you are, being aware of where everyone else is, and just try to stay out of people's way. And if that's the case, I don't care if you're on a razor scooter or rollerblades or a pogo stick.
A pogo stick. I'd love to see a pogo stick just in the middle of the skate park too. People doing like pogo tricks.
I saw a video of King Quartz jumping up and down on a pogo stick right after Flamingo Fest.
That's awesome.
Let me run.
That is very on brand.
Yeah. Let me run Lux's question by. This is a good one. Do you have a Grail album that you'd love to release on SlyVinyl but haven't had the chance to?
Oh, good question.
Yeah. Oh, she always has the good ones.
Yeah, she does.
I have. So I'm gonna parse this into because of there's Grail albums that'll never ever come to fruition, right? Like
you're just afraid that somebody else will release
Radiohead.
it first.
There's these artists that you hold in regard that are never going to come down to your level and release on your tiny label, right? But like realistic ones that I would like to pursue, and maybe putting it out there on a podcast like this will just help put it through. I've been trying to get Blackbird on the label.
Oh,
now that is definitely Chillwave.
Very familiar with Blackbird.
That's definitely Chillwave. And they make future funk now. Do you remember I mentioned that a few episodes ago?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
But he has an album, and it actually almost happened.
That's very possible. That's very possible.
We've been in conversation. I'm in contact with his representation as well, and I think he has some new music that's coming down the pipeline that they might want to get out first. He also has an album that might be due for a 10-year anniversary reissue that's never been on vinyl before. I don't always have to get something that's brand new. Sometimes it's just something that's never been is what suits it for me. Unfortunately for Mikey Blackbird, if anyone saw a couple months ago, he was the victim of a break-in, and they stole a bunch of his gear and I think like laptops that had the unfinished tracks and stuff. So he got kind of back to square one.
Heartbreaking.
Which is really
man, I would give up. I remember hearing about like when Brother Tiger got his studio flooded. Some shit like that. Like, ugh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, do you remember when Brother Tiger's studio flooded? He, like, lost everything. Terrible.
There was a bunch of videos of them, like, trudging through the water, wasn't there?
Oh, that's terrible.
I don't know if I didn't want to watch them.
That's sad.
But yeah, that happens. Bands on tour getting their, a smash and grab job on their bus.
Fiber got his laptop stolen at
That's
one
right.
of the
That's
Electron. I think it was Electron 2 or some shit.
It was
Indies
It was just before the Groove Continental show that happened for Fiber.
I hope I'm not telling too many people's tales.
No,
Definitely tragic.
I'm sure he would. Yeah, but what was great about that? So here's maybe a story he hasn't told. He was able to recreate his set. So his laptop got stolen. He was able to go and buy a new one, and then he got all of his, he must have had a backup of something somewhere, but he didn't have his set list that he had created for the show. But here's what was able to happen. His now wife, I don't know if they were married at the time, but his Sarah had taken a photo of him on the plane working on his set list, and in the photo they could zoom in and he was able to see like a lot of his presets, and he was, from this just kind of candid photo, that just a personal photo, he was able to completely resurrect his set in time, from the time he landed in LA to, hey, it's showtime. He was just
She's such a rock,
scrambling,
dude. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah, she's
Fiber as
great.
well as I would like, but it seems like every other time I've seen him, right before he plays, he's just freaking the fuck out. And she's always
Yeah,
like,
it's like
you
that
got
Terminally
this.
Chill
It's going to
too.
be okay. It's going to be just fine. Like, everybody needs a Sarah.
We had to re-download all his music for Terminally Chill too when he was with me for that.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's
So
the same
he's
thing.
done it before.
Mhm.
He should just be used to that. Just expect it. But yeah, Alex is great. I'm super happy to have him on the label.
Sick.
What's for most of the vaporwave that I have released on SlyVinyl, because of issues with getting sampling even through press plants and stuff like that, I have worked to either put out stuff that has cleared samples or are sample free entirely, which Rendezvous Fiber's EP that we put out is.
Nice. Well, run up those questions, y'all. We still got 35 minutes left with SlyVinyl. While we wait, tell me what your favorite musical act of all time is.
I'm a huge Radiohead fan.
Me too.
Yeah.
Love.
Tell me what their most overrated song is.
I mean, definitely Creep. That has to be the most
All right,
overrated
that's
song.
a given. Pick another one. Let's hear a hot
Pick
take.
another one. It's making it hard.
Because I love Radiohead too, so I'm intensely keen on hearing your answer.
Probably maybe like Paranoid Android.
Okay, so you're just picking overplayed songs. I agree.
Yeah, overplayed, because when you hear Radiohead on the radio, it's like one of those two songs. You're not going to be
That is
getting
true.
stuff off of King of Limbs or.
Is that your favorite
I would think
album?
there's-
Probably get some songs off the Bends though.
Favorite would probably be "Hail to the Thief." That
So
one.
thank you.
That one.
Thank
just
you.
Hits for me.
Kid A to me is my favorite full work, like flawless work. But I feel like Hail to the Thief has the best singles.
Yeah, it's just that one in particular is just so energetic. It's the first album that I really took. I'd heard of Radiohead before, but then when I finally sat down with a friend's iPod and was like, all right, let's get into this, and check them out. That one made me go, oh, okay.
It's meaty too. Like, it's long and every track is doing something. What about you, Skelly? Which one is your favorite?
Kid A.
Yeah, Kid A
I
absolutely
love
fucks.
Kid A. Kid A paired with Amnesiac, because
You
they
know-
were really one album that they kind of wrote all together.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
split up.
Sounds like you're familiar with where Amnesiac came from.
Yeah, and I had been listening to Radiohead. I'm probably a little bit older than probably both of you guys, but I had been listening to Radiohead because I remember when I was very young and Creep came out as their first single. So I had I had been experiencing and seeing Radiohead change throughout my youth, and then when Kid A came out, it was very, very interesting to see that direction happen. So it's my favorite album because I didn't know where they were gonna. I was a huge fan of OK Computer. It was like I was young, and that was an album that I was like, oh, this is awesome. And that was already exciting to see them move, because I thought they were just gonna be, they were gonna have that one hit song from the '90s, and from the early '90s, and then they'd have a second album that was good, but not too many people were very familiar with. And I thought that's kind of how they would remain. Like, they had a big hit, and then they had like a pretty cool album that I think deserved more attention, but didn't get the same mainstream attention. Then they took this break and they came back with OK Computer, and that was like probably like the best album of 1999, 98. I can't remember when it came out.
Yeah,
But
that
either
album
way,
fucked absolutely.
in a sea of new metal music that was coming out in the mainstream, mainstream rock music, you have to understand, was either going to be like new metal or like some like like Matchbox 20 or something.
Something
which,
hard as fuck.
No offense to either of those people, Matchbox 20 or new metal, but wasn't. I don't find that very exciting. That's like
You
pretty
can
like
shit on
that stuff,
Xbox 20.
that's
I'll
like
allow
that
it.
stuff's not terribly exciting to me. But like OK Computer was like nothing else was out there that sounded anything like that in the mainstream. Like that was like crazy how like it was intelligent, all the songs sounded different. It was a tremendous step in a different direction for that sort of like grunge level artist, right? Tremendous step in intelligent, the art design for the entire like the booklet for the album too, like holy shit, this was specifically not trying to sound like anything else in a world where everything was trying to sound like the same thing, and that would be pop music, new metal, the post grunge stuff. They all wanted to sound exactly like each other, kind of not deviate too far. But OK Computer was like, whoa, holy shit. So I was like, that was awesome. And so then when I heard that they were like kind of like putting the guitars to the side a little bit for the next album,
Yeah,
I was
listen
like,
to some Aphex Twin.
this is crazy. How are you gonna follow OK Computer? And then like Kid A comes out.
Fucking
And
got
like,
even weirder.
Got even weirder, man. And that's why Kid A is my favorite album. And Hail to the Thief is phenomenal. And that's a great album too. These are all great albums, but like Kid A came out and I'm like, well, everything they're gonna do after this is like I'm gonna always be excited now. So that was pretty cool. So that's why I like
Rainbows was completely free.
I guess because what it represented. That was interesting. And then like Kid A came out and that like affected a lot of different things. Like the only reason like that's actually what almost started getting kids to start thinking about using computers to make music. Like that sort of got you the sort of like got that piqued interest in like IDM music, right? IDM in the early 2000s got a big upswing because of Kid A, right? Then all of a sudden you're listening to people like Kid 606 or Sex or like those sorts of artists, right? Or DNTEL, right?
Shout out that guy.
That shit only got popular and people started paying attention to that, and we started even bringing electronic music into like the indie scene.
That's why we had Indietronica and Bloghouse and
people got
Dance
used to
Punk
those kinds of sounds because of Kid A.
then Chillwave.
Chillwave up until 2010, but like in 2003 or 2002.
Well, eventually it led to that.
Indie
Once
rock
we had the
kids
housing crisis.
never going to listen to electronic stuff until like Kid A came out. And then they're like, oh, okay, well, let's see what else we got around here. And then like that just sort of like everything else grew out from there. Anyway, that's my thoughts.
Hell yeah.
Some of the other music that I've really enjoyed that are just kind of top tier. I've always really been. I feel like I found a lot of European artists, European electronic music, really hit home for me. I'm a huge fan of Roixop.
Oh,
nice.
I love Bonobo.
Oh yeah,
great.
Bonobo's great live too.
That's what I've heard.
Twin,
I've
as you
heard
had
Bonobo.
mentioned.
Oh yeah, Aphex Twin, fire.
I also, I also like to mess around with some of the like psytrance, like Spangle.
I don't know what that is.
You would.
Well, I have to look. I don't know.
You desert dweller.
I'm not
No,
familiar
you don't
with
have to.
that.
You don't have to look that shit up. It's fine.
Okay.
It'll be okay. Sorry.
What are you guys' thoughts on really long tracks?
I mean, it's
track.
great for
That's
like
here's a
post
10-minute
rock.
track.
I'm not a jam bands guy. Sorry.
Long tracks in general, like for any kind of artist, you mean? Like in general.
Yeah, just I find some of the music that I like has albums where there are tracks that run 10, 15, 20 minutes long. And it's not music that you can just throw on at a party. It's not music that is usually on on a shuffle, right?
I mean,
and it's music that you kind of have to really delve into and like really put all the other distractions aside and like let it flow into you.
For sure. I mean, well, like one of my maybe even my favorite artists is Burial. So I'm very okay with a long track for Burial.
So I think the sweet spot is like 7 or 8 minutes personally. Like with a
Burial
lot of like
song has to
progressive
be
house or like breakcore. Personally, like I was a huge fan of post rock. You mentioned L1011.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was a huge fan of like 65 Days of Static. Ulrich Schnoss. Just electronic shoegaze post rock, and I loved long songs. But it's weird. As I've aged, I've just gotten less of an attention span, I guess. I don't know. 10, 15, 20s is Blank Mass has some long tracks that are absolute flames. But like other than that, and like Fuck Buttons, of course, is where Blank Mass kind of start. I don't know if that's where he started, but like that's where I first heard about the guy. But other than that, I don't know, man. Maybe I have too little of an attention span.
Do you guys fuck around with Godspeed You Black Emperor?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Lift Your Skinny Fists. I can't believe he didn't mention that
when you were having
Lift Your Skinny Fists Like Antennas to Heaven is a perfect album.
I didn't mention that when he was talking about.
It's a flawless album. That album and like some Mogwai stuff are like perfect post-rock albums in my opinion.
Raise your hands like skinny, raise your fists like skinny antennas to the sky.
So funny story. My very first live show I ever went to.
Wait.
I'll make it quick. The very first live show I went to. I do too. I just wanted to tell him that I saw a Silver Mount Zion in 2005 in Lawrence, Kansas.
Yeah.
And
you said that was your first live
that was
show?
That was the first show I went to that I like picked who I was going to go see. Of course, when I was in high school, it's like, oh yeah, sure, I'll go here or I'll be there. But that was the first show I was like, I want to go out of my way to see that, and that's who it was. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that was totally worth it. That's interesting.
What was your first live show, Skelly?
My first live show was Gin Blossoms.
That's why you love Gin Blossoms so much.
First live show that I actually like picked that was like mine that I wanted to go see. That would probably be Bad Religion.
Nice.
It's pretty cool.
My first live show was a David Bowie concert.
Oh hell yeah, man! That's awesome.
Wow.
And oddly enough, opening was Macy Gray.
Oh, that's interesting.
It was an odd combo. I went for the Bowie. You go for the Bowie, but you stay for the Gray. No,
you stay.
Nice.
You go early for the Gray.
Oh, you know what? I have a question for you about live acts. If you could see any live act, I want your top 3. Like, doesn't even matter if they're not around anymore, just not feasible. Top 3 acts. Who would you want to see live?
A fully formed Pink Floyd with everybody on good terms.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Let's do that.
Oh wow.
Waters. I've seen him do when he did the Dark Side of the Moon in full. That whole tour, that was probably one of the best concerts I've ever seen. But yeah, like a back in the day Pink Floyd. I missed on the opportunity. These are shows that I was aware of when they were happening and just didn't pull the trigger because it wasn't in my state. But I had mentioned Spangle. They very, very rarely do more than like a DJ set, and they did a Red Rocks in Colorado.
Red Rocks, Colorado.
They do the Red Rocks,
Red Rocks Amphitheater, and they did they did a full live band where I don't know, they probably had like 20 musicians of all different sorts.
And they pulled a polyphonic spree at Red Rocks.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
It's one of those shows where they put it on a Blu-ray afterwards. It was like that good.
Wow.
I wish I had gone to that. And then one more show. I didn't get a chance to go to the very first Electronicon.
Same.
If I could go back, I've been to number 2. But that first one seemed like it was just an extra little special bit of magic that maybe the other ones didn't quite recreate, but it was just one of those. I wish I was there for it.
Yeah, me too. I'm told that Baby's All Right show the night before was one to remember.
It was good too, yeah.
We have a question from Lux that I accidentally skipped. My apologies to Lux. She says, I know you've been slinging merch at multiple events and venues in the last few years. Do you have any favorite experiences with certain shows and or collectives?
So in Phoenix, there is VA10 Records.
Right.
Do you guys know Chief?
Yeah, Chief Elite.
He's been doing a great job of actually building the scene out here in the desert, and actually getting artists that people are aware of to come on out. He had FM Skyline come out, Frank Jaffe came out. Who else did we have? We had Groovy Kaiju came out.
Yeah, he brought out Vape Error.
Vape Error came as well. And those have just been really great to get more things moving on the scene, get people interested in coming out to Phoenix. It always seems like things are happening in LA or the other coast, or maybe it ends up in Dallas or something like that. But to actually kind of put a little bit more of an infrastructure and get a team out here, get a show where I'm pretty sure each of these guys that have came and performed will have spoken kindly about the whole event. So I'm super excited to see that happen more and more. I've been involved with setting up like merch booths, and kind of when the first one of these shows I went to, their merch booth was just kind of a side round drinking like a tail table,
one of those round tables.
Like you didn't. I was like, this is a merch booth. I didn't even see it over here, kind of a thing. And I got first involved because I released a synthwave album by an artist named Demon that Midnight Drift did a remix.
I was
track.
gonna ask if you had gotten hooked up with Desert Dreams yet.
Yes.
Nice.
Desert.
Is it Desert?
They're doing the Desert Dreams Collective.
I'm going to be embarrassed if that's... I'm talking about A. Greg, KJ Valium, Sky Yamaha, Midnight Drift, Pack of Newports. Is it Desert Dreams?
Yep.
It is Desert Dreams. I'm not stupid.
You got it.
Good people.
Shout
out Phoenix,
those guys
man. Phoenix
you just
is
mentioned,
popping now.
They're kind of the heart and soul of all of that. Newport, and Twin Crab.
Oh, I almost forgot Twin Crab. I'm sorry.
All these really cool guys who are doing their thing and really just building things from the bottom up, from the ground up. I had done a release that had a Midnight Drift remix on it, and that was kind of my first reason for, hey, Midnight Drift is doing this show in Phoenix. Let me set up a small pop-up shop. The album was freshly pressed at the time. And so it was cool to, have an album with one of the artists on it playing a show, and, that was kind of the justification. And I just kept coming back for more. It just worked really well. I have a whole table and grid wall and everything set up to just from scratch set up a merch booth.
Oh, you do. Yes, you do. I helped
was
carry all, well, not all, but some of that shit.
Yes, and thank you again for making
for the love of the love of the culture, man.
Absolutely. But just being able to set up an infrastructure and then give them half the space to do whatever they want for the merch and everything. So it just made it more professional feeling. It made it you're going to increase sales if people are even aware that you have a merch booth set up. And so I've just kind of get out there, and it's good networking opportunity too. Even if you're not selling a ton of stuff, you're out there, you're meeting people, and just kind of getting into the scene. And post COVID, post pandemic, when you're getting back out there is really important right now. And getting these scenes that were they're small, and you got to really breathe life into it and keep breathing that life into it. Otherwise, it's not just going to sustain on its own. You hope to get it to that point, but, you see the hard work that Chief and all those other guys are putting into making these shows happen. And so anytime that I can just offer my assistance and be there to support the scene, support these guys, show up early, help them set up. Hey, what do you need? Let me do that for you. It's good for the scene. It's good for the community. And it's what's good for the goose is good for the gander, right?
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
Everybody should show up and help set up and tear down at least once. It's the right thing to do. Setup is easier than teardown, but if you can, you should help. What is your
setup is easier than turn down unless it is Flamingo Fest, when all of a sudden you get 10 minutes heads up that the after party is going to be where the merch booths are set up. And by the way,
that's
scramble.
facts. Yeah, that's facts.
That was not fun. You spend an hour and a half setting up and you get 15, 20 minutes.
Hey, at least it wasn't a Tape Swap 2022 teardown. Sorry. No, that was this year, not last year. I literally can't remember the years. Just Isaac things. Listen, what is your...
Is that the New York one?
Yes.
That one?
Yeah. You got to be out of here in 10 minutes. Get out. What is your go-to happy music, sad music, and angry music?
Yeah, what do you think of that question?
Happy, sad, and angry, huh?
Yeah. Do you listen to music to put you in a mood? Or are you like, I'm sad, I want to listen to more sad music? Like me.
You know, I've... That's a toughie. I feel like I don't really seek out music that I find to be sad, and to like match.
Damn, you're
my
missing out.
mood. Sometimes if I'm sad, I'm looking to like lift my spirit, so I might get into my
That's smart.
What is my happier music? Or if you're mad, hey, who hasn't thrown on some some more faster paced music and gone for a little bit of an angry drive, right? Get on the freeway, put the accelerator down a little bit.
Sure.
You know, put on some like Carpenter Brute or something like that. Something that you just
Hell
like,
yeah. The kind of stuff I played at that after party. Yeah.
Yes. I've been really a lot of this dark synth stuff I've been loving a lot.
Buddy, me too. I feel like the synthwave scene is all but dead, but dark synth is still going strong. And now they make there's like EBM and mid-tempo stuff, you know. I wouldn't call it an offshoot, but it's kind of adjacent.
Happy music though, yeah, like just stuff that has a good BPM, right? Stuff.
You mentioned St. Pepsi.
Oh yeah, St. Pepsi's really that's great music. I'm a big fan of early M83.
Oh, dude, me too.
Oh, yeah.
Are you like a Before the Dawn Heals Us fan, or like early?
Like self-title, like first.
Oh,
album.
I like the self-titled album, yeah. And then there's like the Dead Seas, whatever, Shorelines, whatever the fuck it's called.
Pretty much everything through. Oh, I'm drawing a blank now. I'm thinking of track titles instead of
that first album.
Yeah,
fucks though.
It does. I remember hearing it I was in a record shop on vacation, and they had it on, and you know, it eventually occurred to me. I was like, man, I'm paying attention to the overhead music more than I am what I'm flipping through right now, and so I had to go like, what is this?
Dude.
And you know, bought it up, and
there's one song.
So I credit that record shop or whoever was playing that CD that day for really influencing.
It may not be as cohesive as some of the albums that followed, but it bangs. There's this one particular song where this guy just goes, "Let's go," and then it's just like bam, and I know you know what I'm talking about.
That's off of that self-titled album.
It's fucking
and I think
stupid
the song
hard.
Is what track is it? But yeah.
Skelly, have you heard the first M83?
Yes, but I don't know the track. It's been a long time. I'm trying to look it up right now.
I'm gonna look this shit up right. Yeah,
I was looking it up.
Really
like,
good.
I can't remember. No, I'll find it later.
Yeah. I definitely want to get hung up on that right now. One last question, and then we'll wrap up. How do you know? Since actually we just kind of talked about this a little bit. How do you know when a song grabs you? Is there a particular element you look for? Is there a particular amount of time before you know it, or just like, what's your touchstone when you know, like, all right, that fucks, you know?
It's funny. I have an album. I have a release that's not yet announced. That's in the works. That was recommended to me. Someone sent me the link, and I started listening to it, and I realized that I had listened to this. It's an EP, so it's relatively short. But I realized I had listened to it like 6 times in a row,
Ooh, okay.
over
That
and
definitely
over and over again.
that'll do it.
And I was like, okay, yeah, this is a sign. And even a couple of the tracks, a couple more times than that 6 in a row. But I think the urge to listen to it again immediately, just like, what did I just hear? Hold on, I gotta try that again. Like that is an indicator that you might have, a winner on your hands. And with vinyl records, you really do put a lot of time and money and investment. You invest time and money into it, and you always are trying to. You're looking for winners, but in the sense that you hope that other people are liking what you're putting out. You hope that there is the audience there. You hope that there's a demand for that type of music on vinyl. And sometimes it absolutely, like, you hit the right thing at the right time at the right place, and boom, in a day you have something sell out, and you're like, whoa, I should have pressed twice as many as we did, or
Right.
whatever. Or sometimes you put something else out, and it doesn't really move the way you'd hoped. So as a label owner, you kind of have to just trust your gut. There's gonna be winners, there's gonna be losers, but you kind of just have to move forward with that. And I don't mean to call them winners and losers, but it's just like what works, what takes off, what.
Yeah.
Because they're all winners in my mind.
Of course. It's just something sometimes it's
something out.
Sometimes it's just a matter of luck, or a matter of the way the tastes are going at that particular time.
If I didn't personally love it.
Yeah. It's just a matter of like where it's so much luck involved with it sometimes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there are such things as sleeper hits, cult favorites. I mean, just because something doesn't sell out immediately,
Syllabus is quoting you, being like,
Some music is made by losers. Some music is made by winners.
Direct quotes.
How important, I'm sorry, I forgot we still have a few more minutes. How important is album artwork to you?
We were talking about this a little bit, right?
We did.
We were talking about it earlier, but I can't understate how important some really great album art is. It could make or break the release. Especially, like, think about going to a record shop and flipping through, a bin of LPs. It's the first impression you're gonna make, right? It's are you showing up to the party well dressed, or are you showing up to the party looking like a mess? And maybe sometimes that's the vibe you want to give. I would say this though, I'm very supportive of the artist's vision. I only one time in the past decade of helping with this label and running things have I ever had to tell an artist, like, let's not use that up. Like, we need to start over because this is just not this.
You really shouldn't
put this
write
out.
your name on your penis and make that an album cover. Change
Was that what Fiber originally wanted?
No, Fiber actually.
I know it's not what he wanted. I'm kidding.
No, but
Alex.
Alex came in with an awesome vision, and he even had brand new artwork made for, he commissioned
brand new artwork made, written on his penis.
New album art for, the vinyl press.
So the album was like super tiny then. So I actually asked as a prelude before we wrap up, I want to know what some of your favorite examples of good album artwork are.
Oh boy, that's hard. How about from your own label?
There's certain. Yeah. Well, maybe I can show some examples.
Damn, son.
Go right ahead.
Shout out Caspro, we love you.
Well, here's the here's the Rendezvous art.
That album artwork is
actually,
badass.
So we had the wax mage done of this one.
Nice, nice, beautiful. gorgeous.
You know, I really love when a band has like a constant through line of the album artwork. Like, well, you know, Pink Floyd had a lot of the same guy. What was his name? Strom, something or another. Or like Circa Survive, they have the same guy doing all the album artwork, and that always looks killer. You know, so I really appreciate when a band can kind of coalesce around kind of like an image and can continue it. And that's not to say if you don't do that there's anything wrong with it, but I know sometimes there's really tonal shifts between what the album art will look like, and it makes you think like, is this like, what am I getting myself into here?
So I think art directors
or like
are really important.
Radiohead uses Stanley Donwood for all of their stuff. So yeah, those are some examples.
I think artists, I think that it's just as important as whatever imagery you're using is the art director, the art direction itself. You know what I mean? Like sometimes people, I found working in the past that like you can find people sometimes that are really able to give you an interesting image, but they're not art directors. You know what I mean? They had to go talk to somebody else for that most of the time. Make it cohesive, you know?
SlyVinyl Records, everybody. We are down to the last 4 minutes of our broadcast tonight, and we have to cut off these really fun conversations and pivot towards saying goodbye. We usually like to open the floor up to our guests to promote or shout out or just really say anything you want. So now you have that chance. Everyone's listening.
Yeah, so maybe I'll take this opportunity to make the first public announcement of SlyVinyl's next exclusive drop for this month. It's our last drop of the year. We are going to be reissuing for its 10th anniversary the Blue Sky Black Death album Glaciers.
Ooh.
Oh, holy shit.
Great choice.
Wait. I did not know.
You have
this
such
ahead
good
of time, by the
taste in
way. I'm just
instrumental
saying this
hip hop, dude.
I love Blue Sky Black Death. I had no idea that you were doing this. This is very exciting for me as well. Holy shit. Did not see that. Guys, I'm very excited. I didn't see this coming. I had no idea.
Hell
this
yeah.
was gonna be said, but I'm a huge
I don't know if
Blue
you know
Sky
that, like,
Black
Skelly
Death
and I are
fan.
both huge Clams Casinos fans, too.
Oh my god.
Clams Casino.
That's
So,
one of
like,
my-
that's right up my fucking
My
alley
favorite
for
artist,
sure.
basically, Clams Casino and Burial. Those are my favorite artists, and Tobacco as well, and One O Tricks Play Number. Those 4 are my favorite 4 artists. Like, holy shit!
Great
Blue
choice,
Sky Black
buddy.
Death? Wow, I love Blue Sky Black Death.
Yeah,
Amazing.
the SlyVinyl's
Amazing.
very, very first vinyl release was
Wow.
Blue Sky Black Death's Noir
No
album.
way. I didn't know that.
So they
Badass.
go all the way back to the beginning.
Wow.
And so this is the 10th anniversary reissue. We're gonna have brand new album art as well.
Wow.
Yeah, we just wanted to end the year with a bang. This will go on sale Friday, December 29th. So right at the end of the year.
Oh yeah.
So you're here. That's a Hot Takes exclusive.
Ooh.
Wow.
I'll take
Look at that, guys. You heard it here first.
What else you got for us?
And just in general, some other shout outs. I just want to shout out one of my artists and collaborators and good friends, Richard Houghton. This guy, he makes amazing music, but he also is he masters a lot of my releases. He cuts the lacquers for a lot of my releases, and he is also the wizard behind our holographic releases, if you guys have seen those or not.
Yeah, for sure. Those are amazing.
I could even show off.
We love Richard
If you have one,
Houghton.
why don't you show it in front of the camera right now? Again.
So here is a
Oh, that's
holographic
badass.
press.
I've never seen one of those before. I'm a plebeian when it comes to vinyl. Just sorry.
And it's the first
cool.
one we've done with side A and side B holographic.
That's too
That's
cool
so
looking.
Cool.
It's completely a playable surface. And
Wow.
yeah, this is Richard Houghton's Quantum Flow Volume 1.
Wow.
So just want to shout out Richard. I don't think SlyVinyl would be what it is today without the amazing music he creates and the amazing music and the awesome art that he puts out as well. Additionally, we were talking about which press plants we love. I love Gotta Groove Records. and the Wax Mage crew who makes, the craziest vinyl in the game. Shout out to Heath. And then, shout out to VA10 Records for, bringing the local Phoenix scene to life for vaporwave and synth and, all the other good stuff that wouldn't be out here in the desert otherwise. I'm so thankful for the community. I'm so thankful for the vaporwave community. I'm so thankful for the community that comes back to SlyVinyl time and time again. We wouldn't be here without you. We are here because of you, and we won't ever forget that. We're always looking to be as friendly to our fan base and our artists and everybody in the community as possible. Just spread the love around.
Nice.
Hell yeah, that's right. SlyVinyl Records, everybody. Skelly, what do you got for us?
Okay. Well, I mean, since we're talking about vinyl on this episode so much, I might as well at least shout out my album, Glows and Melts, on vinyl from Needle Juice Records in 2 variants, either glow in the dark or blood splatter. I have it right here. So this is Glows and Melts, and
look at that OB strip.
Is it just like always within arm's reach?
Big OB strip, and then also it is also gatefold.
Like carries it
right?
from one room to the other. It's always within his arc
It is
of control.
gatefold, and this is, I think, the red blood splatter one version of it. So yeah.
Oh yeah,
anyway.
look at that.
Yeah. So since it's a vinyl episode, you can go pick
That's
up a
too
copy.
spooky.
I'll put a link in the here's the link. It comes in 2 variants. There's also a glow in the dark variant of it too, if you like. And then aside from that, February 2nd is my party Eclipse at Milk Boy in Philadelphia, 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. February 2nd. It's the party where we DJ dark synth, like you would like. Dark synth,
Yes.
dark synth, wave music, witch house.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's enough.
I don't have anything going on. I'm taking a winter hiatus because I don't like driving on snow and ice.
Tell me that.
But some pretty cool stuff coming up for us. Check out Neon Nights. It's every other Tuesday night on YouTube. Not tomorrow, but next week. Jump in the Discord server. It's badass. We got a really good community. We're going to need to pay somebody to make artwork for Season 4 here pretty soon. And I think you're really going to like who we have kind of already selected. So any donations that you want to drop in, you're going to like what we put together. We're almost done.
How many more episodes do we have left for this season?
We have 2. We have 2
more episodes,
and then we're going to do...
a fucking break.
Okay, that doesn't count the retrospective. The long haul
no, we're not
episode.
counting the retrospective.
Sorry.
So 3 more episodes.
3 more episodes, and then we're taking a fucking break.
Retrospective. We're taking a fucking break for a little while, guys. We're taking
a
sabbatical.
Go check out Utopia District in the meantime.
Me and Isaac are tired, and we're adults, and we have lives, so we got to take a break from. We love you. We got to catch up on stuff.
Just a reminder
to tune into these episodes. We're
buddy.
We're hibernating for a few months after that.
Go check out Indie Advent, Utopia District, and Tiger Blood Tapes. Thank you again to Indy for all his help, and all the members of the community. Lux, Naoko Coed for all the links. And all you supporters who donated, Caspero Town, Roche Corp, love you guys, as usual, Luxury Noise, all my mods in the Discord server, very good people. Just going to let you guys know we're obviously we're not going to come back on Christmas. In 2 weeks, we're not broadcasting on Christmas. So we've got a very special episode we're cooking up, and then somebody else after that, and then a retrospective. Still haven't figured out what we're doing, but I think it's going to be more of a community involvement episode. More on that later. But you guys will be really happy to know that we are kind of rearranging things like we did when we brought on Topaz Gang. We're going to be broadcasting on a Saturday night. It's going to be all the way until January the 6th. So a little bit of radio silence from us. But on January the 6th at 7 p.m. Eastern, we're bringing on Donor Lens. So when I asked everyone on Twitter who they wanted us to come to, who they wanted to come on the show, Donor Lens was overwhelmingly like one of the biggest votes. So show up, same time, same place at 7 p.m. Eastern to be here for Donor Lens. And until then, follow us on social media and go support SlyVinyl Records. Buy that
For
Friend
sure.
Zone. Buy those Friend Zone albums. If you're not a Friend Zone fan or you've never heard of Friend Zone, damn. And that's
Get it.
enough.
Get it.
That's enough about that. We got to go to bed, and yeah, you got to do it. You won't regret it. Thanks for coming on, SlyVinyl. Thanks for being my co-host, Skelly, and thank you guys for being here. Have an awesome night, and we'll see you next week. Not next week.
All right.
We'll see you January 6th.
That's it.
Goodbye.